Realize that everything in this video, in some ways, is actually fuckery. It's fuckery in the sense that all these things are things that men have made to complicate things that are naturally oversimplified. Naturally, they're so simple they're dumb, but men have made it complicated. The world you and I have found ourselves where we just open our eyes one day and all of a sudden, here we are. This world has been made so sophisticated that if we don't know it, because no one gave us a user manual to this thing, if we don't know it, we suffer for it. Most importantly, those coming after us suffer for it. It is your responsibility to know it, preserve it, pass it on. So no matter how much of a layer it might be in this video, take your time to get it. Take your time to reflect on it so that you could properly disseminate it to others. If you don't get it, there's no way you can explain it to others. One of the goals of why I'm doing this is so that you can take the people in your immediate environment, the average, everyday man, put them a little bit above average, and that they can build upon that generation after generation. This is just when it comes to pen and paper stuff.
Beautiful people. Clarity is mother of all truth. Therefore, in realizing anything, until one is clear about it, truth has yet to be conveyed. The truth can be told to you or you can read the truth. Unless you're clear of it, the source of it or the core of it is really not there. In the case of information, you will hear the truth, you will know it's the truth, you will feel it's the truth. You will see, okay, it makes sense. But you just can't quite put your fingers on it because of one simple thing. And that one simple thing, clarity. So let's speak about LLCs and how they work and the importance of DBA. Before I go into the importance of DBA and the different means to which you can do it, let's go to different types of LLCs. Are you aware there are different types of LLCs? If you are, you know for what purpose they're used for. In other words, two people can say, I have an LLC, but the LLC can be structured differently. I've shown how to structure the LLC relating to the 508 and the express trust. It will be member managed, to which the express trust will be the members. In summary, single member LLCs is treated basically as a sole corp. So some might tell you a sole corp is different from an LLC, but if it's a single member LLC, then it is no different as a sole corp because it will be treated as a sole corp if one man or woman or one entity strictly owns that LLC.
A corporation sole is a legal entity. A corporation sole is also another word they call sole corp, another word they call sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is something a lot of people run from because they do a sole proprietorship the wrong way. They do sole proprietorship where they take the legal's name and have it do business as an LLC. That's not how you do that. A corporation sole is a legal entity. It's a legal entity consisting of a single, aka sole, incorporated office. Pay attention to the keywords here. Office occupied by a single natural person. This natural person, in the case of how we are speaking of here when it comes to the express trust being the single member manager, the LLC, is as follows. That beneficiary of that express trust will be one man or one woman because of case law in 2007, Malone versus Nielsen. So you know that I'm not blowing smokes up your butt, and just when it comes to case laws, I highly disfavor citing them verbally or on a piece of paper. Therefore, I just try to show you real quick. Malone versus Nielsen. Hopefully, I can dedicate a separate video to this. It's case number 05-4112. But the summary of it is to be represented by an attorney. The beneficiary of your entity has to be just one man or one woman. A lot of people don't realize on it and these basic explanations. It becomes on a surface level and you begin to truly control things. Now let's go to the horse's mouth, the big bad wolf everyone is always afraid of, the IRS. But before we do that, just so you know, corporate soul has its origin in spiritual things, ecclesiastic jurisdiction. Hence, that video regarding Express Trust, LLCs, 508s, and grants. Do you see why the language of the structure on the face of those documents are written that way? I hope you connecting the dots. The Crown uses the structure. Queen Elizabeth, that just passed away, and all her children. Do you know the reason why, when it comes to, let's just forget Queen Elizabeth. Just think about the issue of a king and a queen and who's going to fight for the throne. Do you know that a video was done on closed corporations and how royalty use it? This video. Kingship, monarchs, an ability to pass power without interruption from one office holder to the next, for that crown to go on top of one man's or one woman's head. Do you know they're structured as soul corps? That is the reason why only one man or woman can be on the throne at once. Hence, soul. They even tell you. They explain it. In the United States, Oh, so you're telling me IRS knows about this, huh? Interesting. A legitimate corporation soul, meaning the subject matter as what's right and what's structured properly. A legitimate corporate soul is designed, meaning it is structured. See, now IRS is using substitute terms. And they're telling you what makes a corporate soul have a standing and capacity, aka legitimate, is how Washington released this. The Internal Revenue Service today issued a consumer alert advising taxpayers to be wary of promoters offering a tax evasion, not tax avoidance. This is the reason why we did this video regarding the two differences between avoidance and evasion. Tax evasion scheme that misuses corporate soul laws. Listen to this. Promoters of the scheme misrepresents. So now the premise is that tax evasion is what they're doing, meaning they don't know the difference between avoidance and evasion. Avoidance is how you structure your entity, aka estate planning. Estate, as we went over in past videos, just means interest in ownership. Interest in ownership determines how it's controlled. Hence, own nothing, control everything. You see how all these things link? So the presumption is people don't know about tax avoidance, which is estate planning, structuring things for the purpose of control. So the foundation that this is referencing is based on ignorant people who don't know how things work. Promoters of the scheme misrepresent state and federal law intended only for bona fide churches, religious entities, and church leaders. Many participants in the scam apply for incorporation. If you know anything about 508, you know 508 is not incorporated. In fact, it is known as unincorporated entity. Competence is the key, as I always say. Otherwise, you would get carried away by the waves and the streams of water of those who don't know subtle details of how things work. And thus, publications like these might apply to people who don't know the subtle substance of things. Participants in
the complete 30-minute videos on the Patreon page. Take care. Best of luck.